In this podcast episode, Patrick Bet-David interviews Tiffany Justice from Moms for Liberty. Tiffany gained attention after a debate with Joy Reid where they discussed the appropriateness of certain books in schools. The debate centered around a book that contained graphic sexual content, including instructions on handjobs and other explicit topics. Tiffany, as a mother of four, expressed her concerns about such content being taught in schools. Tiffany, along with co-founder Tina Descovich, started Moms for Liberty in response to the increasing ideological influence in schools. They observed a lack of parental rights and transparency in the education system, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Parents were frustrated with the lack of accommodation for their children's needs, such as mask exemptions. The organization aims to empower parents to advocate for their children's education and fight against harmful ideologies being pushed in schools. The National Education Association is a powerful union with significant influence over the education system. They are known for promoting progressive ideologies and funding the Democratic Party. Fighting against such a powerful entity is not easy, but Moms for Liberty is building a grassroots army to challenge the influence of unions and reclaim public education for parents and children. Tiffany recently debated Bill de Blasio on the topic of controversial books in schools. She confronted him with explicit content from the books, but he refused to engage with the material directly. The debate highlighted the importance of honest conversations about what children are being taught in schools and the need for parental involvement in shaping education policies. Tiffany discussed specific books like All Boys Aren't Blue, which contains graphic descriptions of sexual abuse. She emphasized the need for parents to be aware of the content their children are exposed to in schools and to advocate for transparency and accountability in the education system. The organization has been vocal about challenging the inclusion of inappropriate material in school curricula. Despite efforts to raise awareness about the explicit content in certain books, mainstream media outlets like CBS Sunday Morning have been reluctant to show the actual material during interviews. This censorship hinders the public's ability to fully understand the issues at hand and the need for parental oversight in education. Tiffany encourages parents to build relationships with teachers, principals, and school officials to stay informed about their children's education. By getting involved in advocating for transparency and accountability in schools, parents can play a crucial role in shaping the educational experience for their children. Tiffany discusses the organization's mission and the challenges they face in advocating for parental rights in education. Moms for Liberty started with just 2 chapters and has now grown to over 300 chapters in 48 states with over 120,000 members. The organization focuses on endorsing candidates in school board races, as they believe that the school board is the most important position locally. Tiffany emphasizes the significance of school boards in shaping education policies and decisions. She highlights how school boards are often controlled by teachers' unions, which prioritize adult wants over children's needs. She shares examples of how unions have influenced school policies, such as early release days and restrictions on parental involvement in school events. Tiffany criticizes teachers' unions for prioritizing their own interests over those of students and families. She mentions instances where unions have pushed for school closures during the COVID-19 pandemic, despite the negative impact on children's education. Tiffany also points out the political agenda of teachers' unions, highlighting their focus on issues like abortion and foreign aid, rather than children's education. Moms for Liberty initially started with selling T-shirts to raise funds and has since received support from larger donors. Tiffany acknowledges the challenges of funding grassroots organizations and emphasizes the importance of sustained engagement with donors and supporters. She mentions that while the organization has received some funding, they are still in need of additional resources to further their mission. Tiffany discusses the cultural revolution happening in schools and the need for parents to engage in the culture war. She stresses the importance of building authentic, parent-to-parent connections to mobilize support for their cause. She believes that funders are beginning to understand the significance of fighting in the culture war and supporting organizations like Moms for Liberty. Tiffany highlights the concern over the sexualization of children in schools, particularly through the implementation of curriculum that promotes LGBTQ content to young students. She stresses that the issue is not about sexual orientation, but rather the sexualization of children, which goes against the values and beliefs of many parents, including those in the Muslim community. Tiffany points out that the push for comprehensive sexuality education and other ideological agendas is not limited to the United States, but is a global issue. She mentions UNESCO's Sustainable Development Goals and the influence of international organizations in shaping education policies. She warns that these agendas aim to destabilize the family unit and increase government control over children's upbringing. According to Justice, the ultimate goal of promoting ideological agendas in schools is to weaken the family structure and make children dependent on the government for guidance and support. She believes that these agendas are designed to drive a wedge between parents and children, leading to increased reliance on government institutions for decision-making and values. Tiffany raises concerns about the CDC's whole school, whole community, whole child model, which aims to integrate health services into schools. She explains that the initiative includes setting up medical clinics, providing health services, and promoting social and emotional development within schools. She warns that this model could lead to children receiving medical care without parental consent and encourages parents to be aware of the potential implications of such programs. Tiffany emphasizes the need for long-term planning in addressing the challenges facing the education system. She suggests that while short-term solutions may provide temporary relief, a more sustainable approach is required to safeguard the future of education. She urges parents to consider the long-term implications of current educational policies and to advocate for reforms that prioritize student well-being and academic success. Tiffany highlights the low proficiency rates among students in public schools and the need for a shift towards a more effective and accountable education system. She calls for a focus on basic education principles and a reduction in unnecessary spending on consultants and programs that do not directly benefit students. She emphasizes the importance of parental rights and responsibilities in shaping the future of education and encourages parents to get involved in school governance and decision-making processes.